Welcome back to RNS Pod. Myself, Kweku Afari, Toni and Kweku over there. Bro, we had a conversation, a topic that it went platinum in the TalkSports office in the studio about top 5 players of all time. It's normally an international break kind of conversation, but I don't know. I feel like it's the right time for us to bring it up. We talked about it quite a bit privately, but in terms of our audience on RNS, I feel like it's time for them to hear who our top 5 players, footballers of all time is. We did our top 10 NBA players of all time. That caused some controversy. Obviously, you had the GOAT as number 1, and I had the actual GOAT.
My glorious King LeBron.
Your glorious King LeBron. But the football one's a lot more techie, right? It's a lot less defined.
Yeah.
Seems like there's more eras you have to deal with when it comes to football. So I feel like we can start with our top 5, start with number 5, and then go through to number 1, and then obviously debate about that because our top 5 is very, very different.
Yeah. I don't want to start off with mine because I feel like let's start off with yours because yours is going to cause the most controversy, I think. So start off with your top 5. We'll go from 5 and we'll work our way up.
Okay. So number 5, I got Zinedine Zidane. I feel like that's fair, top 5.
I think that's fair. Like, World Cup, 98. Should have won another World Cup in 06. Got sent off in the final.
Yeah.
Champions League, one of the greatest Champions League final goals of all time.
Yeah.
And just a genuine hooper. Like, amongst hoopers as well. Like, people got to remember, what was it, like 2002?
What, Champions
World
League?
Cup? No, I'm talking World Cup against Brazil.
98 World Cup.
Was that against Brazil?
Yeah.
What was the one? No, there was another game that I watched. I think, no, World Cup 2006.
2006, the game against Brazil was unbelievable. Yeah, he was
that
incredible.
one. I remember watching that and I said, yo.
Yeah, man.
Like
That's probably the greatest comp of all time. Like, just seeing Zidane against, like, a good Brazil team. Bear in mind, these are defending world champions.
Yeah.
And Zidane was just playing with them.
Just hooping.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like Brazilians were the Brazilians still hooping, but Zidane just looked like he was Brazilian.
And bear in mind, that's like Zidane on Last Dance. Like, he told everybody, yeah, I'm retiring after this.
After this, yeah.
And I feel like Zidane's legacy is almost enhanced by getting sent off in 2006.
No, I wouldn't say enhanced because
But it doesn't dent it, though.
It doesn't dent it.
Which is crazy.
And that's how good of a footballer he was because, like, to get sent off in the biggest game of your life should ruin your legacy. But it didn't enhance it. And I know you even spoke to Materazzi and stuff like that during the Euros and at the end of the day, but I should have asked him. You should have asked him. You should have. You bottled it. But we'll find you, Marco. We'll find you again and we'll do it. But I don't think it enhanced it because really and truly, him winning the World Cup would have enhanced it. He would have been the GOAT if he won the World Cup.
Okay, so let's speak on that then. If Zidane wins the 2006 World Cup, bear in mind he won it in 98. Bear in mind he won Euro 2000 as well.
Scored in both finals if he had won it.
If he scored a penalty in the
2006. A Panenka, which he just about got away with, about. But to score a Panenka in a World Cup final against Gigi Buffon is insane.
Scored a brace in the 98 World Cup final. Bear in mind, 98 was a home World Cup. He had a pretty stinky tournament up until the final, got sent off earlier on. And in the final, they needed someone to deliver. Bear in mind, Ronaldo, R9, I don't know what happened to him pre-game, but that nigga was having seizures or whatever. And Zidane turned up. It was the battle of Zidane versus Ronaldo, and Zidane turned up and scored a brace, and his team won 3-0, won a home World Cup. Obviously, from then, when you win a World Cup that early on in your career, everything else is like free game. It's like, go and build your GOAT legacy, and he did that. Obviously, went to Madrid. The Galacticos era didn't really work out. They won La Liga title. He won the Champions League, obviously, scoring the greatest goal in Champions League history.
Is it the greatest?
Is it better than Bale's?
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
But the other crazy thing about Zidane?
What?
He was the manager.
He was the manager, yeah. He was like, good goal, mate.
And that's the thing about Zidane as well. Everything he touches seems to turn to gold. People forget that. And again, this is purely football, like purely playing career. But he won 3 Champions Leagues in a row as Real Madrid manager, which I think further enhances his career.
I think that further enhances his legacy.
That adds a little bit to
I think
it.
he should, when it comes to just the sport of football, he should be...
It's almost like Jerry West.
Yeah. It's like Jerry West got a finals MVP without even winning, just because like we that was a here nigga damn. And I'm not saying Zidane's Champions League's a here nigga damn because he's the only manager. Like, really and truly, he should be going down as one of the greatest managers ever because no one's ever going to win 3 Champions Leagues as a manager in a row ever again. But what Zinedine Zidane as a player and coach has done for football, I think he has to be in the top 5. So I agree with you on that one. I think
Zidane's number 5 on my list.
Are there any honourable mentions?
Well, we're talking before we start recording. For me, I think Xavi is so underrated.
Yeah.
I think Xavi is a player that was integral to a Spain side that dominated international football like we've never seen before. They were just the best international
Completely
team.
changed football.
Changed football completely, and we're
football.
still feeling the after effects today. And then that Barcelona team in 2011, people argue is the greatest club team of all time, and who was the fulcrum.
Is it?
2011 Barcelona, yeah, greatest club team of all time, for sure. That's the conversation. 2009 went better.
What, Henri, Eto'o?
That MVP, Messi, Villa, Pedro, and Messi being actual Messi.
Yeah, but I think Messi had a better season the season after.
Yeah, he did, but they didn't.
And was that better than MSN?
I think that
2015 Barca.
I think that 2011, for me anyway, 2011.
I think the midfield, yeah, but I think overall team.
Yeah,
It's a debate. Maybe for another conversation.
And one person that was integral to that was Xavi, and yeah, I think that when you have these conversations, for some reason, when it comes to discourse in football, people want to put Pirlo above him. People want to put Modric above him. I don't think any of those
Above
players,
Xavi?
I don't think any of those players are above Xavi. I think Xavi is criminally underrated. And people who want to put Iniesta above him, I don't think that's the case.
No.
What some old heads would say, I'll say old heads, people just slightly older than me, would they?
Because you're an old head yourself.
I know, man. I'm Unc. I'm dad.
Yeah.
What people who are a little bit older than me would say as well is you got to throw R9 in there, because people who were watching R9, watching Prime R9, said they've never seen anybody like that before. I feel like injuries stopped him from being the actual GOAT, because bear in mind he's got a World Cup on his resume. Bear in mind in '98 he was the best player at that World Cup, but had the seizures before the final. And in 2002, 4 years later, the redemption arc, best player at that World Cup. Won it, top goal scorer, scored in the final. Like R9, Prime R9, which was a very short prime. Some people who watched it, like game in, game out, say that he was the greatest player they've ever seen.
And the thing is, it's really unfortunate. Like the worst thing could have happened. Maybe this is because he said he doesn't identify being black, even though it kind of is.
Yeah.
And that's what he deserves. But it's unfortunate because there's a guy who was years later on who decided to play football and had his name.
Yes.
And had a better career than him.
Bro, that's such an underrated point. That's
because honestly, like when it comes to R9, I think that hurt his legacy as well. Because even when I started to grow up, where I saw the back end of R9, but I still saw R9 score a hat trick at Old Trafford. I saw that R9. I saw Real Madrid R9.
Bear in mind that was him coming down.
Exactly. So I missed. I said I started watching R9. No, I started knowing about R9 from Inter Milan, because when I was playing ISIS Pro, R9 was at Inter Milan and he was the best striker in the game.
Yeah.
So I knew R9 Inter Milan, but then I saw the back end of his career for Real Madrid. But then when I got older and I did the research and I went back and I saw he scored 48 goals for Barcelona. I was like, what? I went to go back to Barcelona. Even PSV, I'm like, what? So when you go back and you see R9, but unfortunately, a guy called Cristiano Ronaldo.
Bro, it's only now that we're calling him R9. When I was growing up, people were calling him Fat Ronaldo. Which is crazy.
Which is insanity. It's absolutely insane, because there was no reason for Cristiano Ronaldo to have the career that he's had and have the same name. Because if he was called Christian Jr., no one would be calling R9 Fat Ronaldo.
Yeah.
It's because we had a GOAT Ronaldo and then we had another GOAT Ronaldo and we just determined the other one as fat. Because fair enough, he did the thing that most Brazilians do. They just let go of themselves after their career because they want to party, and that's fine. They've done what they've given to football so they can live their lives. But it's just unfortunate that Cristiano Ronaldo had to be his name, and we started calling him R9 Fat Ronaldo, and that ruined his legacy. Like Cristiano Ronaldo ruined his legacy without even doing anything. Because that's not his fault. No. It's not his fault.
Talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, he's number 4 on my list. CR7. And this is so crazy. On this podcast, people that you guys think I'm bashing are around my favourite players. Like, I love LeBron James. He's my favourite basketball player of all time, but I just don't think he's the GOAT. Cristiano Ronaldo, objectively, if you take Chelsea players out of it, is my favourite footballer of all time. But in terms of the GOAT conversation, he falls short. He's number 4. And I think if most people would be honest with themselves, if you go through your top 10 players of all time, and again, this is regardless of eras, we didn't get to watch Maradona, we didn't get to watch Pele, we didn't get to watch Johan Cruyff. But maybe barring Cruyff and Ronaldo, everyone else in the top 10 list has a World Cup. And I think for Cristiano Ronaldo, that's the only thing that hurts his legacy. On the club stage, honestly, Champions League, there's never been a better Champions League footballer than Cristiano Ronaldo.
He is Mr. Champions League.
He's Mr. Champions League. It's the same way that Shawn Michaels is Mr. WrestleMania. It doesn't mean that Shawn Michaels is the greatest wrestler of all time.
True.
He's just Mr. WrestleMania.
Good point.
But I think that Cristiano Ronaldo, club football wise, is absolutely incredible. I'm not even talking about in the league. I'm talking about in the Champions League, highest leveraged moments of club football. He's better than Messi. He is giving us more moments, been more responsible for more Champions Leagues than Messi. But when it comes to the international stage, granted, he won the Euros in 2016, didn't play the final.
Won it as the manager.
Portugal didn't win a game in 90 minutes.
In the group stage. I don't know.
Throughout the tournament,
I think they beat Wales. Euro 2016, they beat Wales in the semis, right?
They beat Wales in the semis. I can't remember what the score was after 90 minutes.
But they beat him in 90 minutes.
But they weren't great in that.
I think that's the only game they won.
And Ronaldo scored in that game, to be fair.
Congratulations, scored against Wayne Hennessy, my guy.
Yeah. But I love Cristiano, but the three players I have above him, when it comes to greatness, I just feel like, well, to Kendrick, greatness is astonishments and accomplishments. And the hardware that you have, it matters. And despite the fact that Cristiano Ronaldo has 5 Champions Leagues, I think that the World Cup is weighted heavier than any of those honours when it comes to ranking players. So for me, I've got Cristiano Ronaldo.
So just using that argument, why would you put him still above Zidane?
Because the numbers are ridiculous. And like,
and we're not going to see anything like him anytime soon.
Like, when Messi or when Ronaldo was in La Liga, if you just took his stint in La Liga and say he didn't play for Man United before that, or he didn't play for anybody after that, just that stint in La Liga, I don't think we've ever seen anybody at an individual club have that much impact. Like, it was insane. A goal a game was more than the goal a game was his average. Won 4 Champions Leagues at a football club. Broke Raul's goal scoring record in half the games. He just did everything he could do on the club level. I just think that when it comes to international, he lacks a little bit. But we were having a conversation. I think in 2022, if Ronaldo wins that World Cup, he might be the GOAT, because you can't deny the numbers, you can't deny the hardware. But out of all the players in my top 5 list, he's the only one that doesn't have a World Cup. Number 3, Pele. And this one is so difficult, because when we were doing our research about our top 5, I looked at Pele and said, he's got 3 World Cups in 3 different decades, which is absolutely insane. Won the World Cup in 1958 as a 17-year-old. And bear in mind the way that we're talking about Lamine Yamal. Like, we're eulogising, saying this is the best 17-year-old that we've ever seen. Pele won the World Cup.
Pele was the World Cup.
At 17.
Lamine Yamal won the Euros. And Lamine Yamal might win a World Cup at the age of 18.
18, yeah. That remains to be seen, but Pele did it. In 1962, he won the World Cup, so he defended the World Cup as a 21-year-old. And then in 1970, in the latter stage of his career, won the World Cup as well. And I think pre-2000, if you were just to ask who the GOAT is, I think the definitive answer would be Pele, and you'd move on with the conversation. But I feel like players have come after him, and for me, a player maybe not in his era, slightly after his era, is greater than him, but it's undeniable what Pele did in football. He was an icon. You were producing the show on TalkSport when he died, and the whole world stops when a player like that dies, because he was so important to football.
Around the grounds didn't stop though. We started to go back to Doncaster versus whoever.
You and Dan Windle fighting for your life.
Oh, bro.
The one thing with Pele is people say 1,000 goals, 1,000 goals. To me, the 1,000 goals is like the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point game. I didn't see it. I can't find the footage. And so the club football side of things, I can't really bring it into the equation. It might be disrespectful. Brazilian football might have been great back then, because Brazil were the best national team, so I'm assuming that the football in the country was great, but unfortunately it's not documented as well as European football's documented, so I can't put it in there. So Pele is number 3 for me, but it could easily make him the GOAT. Number 2, controversial, but I'll put Maradona. I'll put Maradona there. I think that football's about...
I'll let you land.
Football's about feelings, not facts.
Okay.
Football's about... it's how you feel. And I didn't get to watch Maradona, but when I talk to anybody who got to watch Maradona, who's still alive today, they tell me that guy is the greatest footballer of all time. And it was the duality of man. It was the fact that when he got onto a football pitch, he was such a genius. He was incredible with the ball at his feet. He was ahead of his time. But then off the pitch, he was a little devil, and he was doing things you shouldn't be doing. He was just everything you want that maverick footballer to be. And in 1986, culminated in him dragging his team, and I don't want to call the rest of the team bums, but dragging the team...
No, so say what you want to say.
Dragging the team that didn't have the most talented players in the world to a World Cup. Tim Vickery might disagree. He might have to tell me what the striker played for, what team the striker played for, what team the defender played for. But the narrative around Maradona in that 1986 World Cup is that he single-handedly dragged his team to that World Cup. And I think before we get to the man who's top of my list, before he put forward that World Cup in 2022, a lot of people point to that World Cup in 1986 as the greatest individual performance at a World Cup, the biggest stage. He dragged his team to that. And on the club stage as well, he won a couple of titles with Napoli. And if you think about the way that people from Napoli were viewed in that era, almost they weren't even viewed as Italians, they were viewed as other. He dragged that city and unified that city and put a couple chips on their head as well, and they will never forget him for that. There's a reason why they named the stadium after him there. Like, everybody who joins Napoli is living the Maradona shadow, and for me he meant more than football. He gave people who watched him a feeling that I don't think's been replicated until my number one on the list came onto the scene, Lionel Messi. 2022 secured it.
Yeah.
We all knew it before that. We just had to see you win the biggest trophy. It might have been rigged.
So what, man? So what? We got what football needed.
Bro,
and football needed
how many times the tuck rule in the NFL?
True.
How many times have you seen American sports where it's like, cool, it might have been rigged, but it's for the.
But you need it for the product. You need it for the product. Yeah.
LeBron James even jumped on Pat McAfee. We're going to talk about LeBron James later on. Jumped on Pat McAfee and said, "Yo, me going to Cleveland can't be coincidental."
Bro, I don't think you understand. Yeah, like in 2003, just go off on a tangent. Cleveland knew they were getting the pick. Not only did they change the logo and revealed the new logo, they already had the LeBron James jersey there when they won the number one pick. But anyway,
it happens.
It happens. Derrick Rose going to Chicago. You know what I mean? Like,
it happens. Patrick Ewing going to New York.
Was David Stern, God rest his soul, just had to do a little something.
It's for the product.
It's for the product.
I'm not alluding to the fact that anything was fixed in. Well, I did say it, but it might.
We didn't say it. We just put it out there.
But
do you know what I mean?
Fell in Messi's favour after losing the first game against Saudi Arabia. The people at FIFA said we are not allowing this to happen. Have Ronaldo, you're sick, but have your moment.
Have your moment. That's it. Go back to AFCON, blood.
And Messi stuck a World Cup on the head tops, and it was a culmination of what is, in my opinion, the greatest footballing career of all time. Messi has got the individual accolades, the Ballon d'Ors. No one's going to ever win as many Ballon d'Ors as him. Again, some of them might not be deserved, but he's got the hardware. Multiple Champions Leagues, multiple La Liga titles, got the World Cup. For me, Messi's the greatest player of all time. That's my top 5 list.
All right, Quakes. Well, I agree with some. There's some I don't agree with, but I'm going to go through mine. I'm going to go from 1 to 5. So
off the domes or no laptop.
This, because I said football's about feelings, not facts. I'm going to say who gave me tingling in my whatever. Anyway, I said tingling in my toes, bro. What do you mean? So, all right, number 1, I agree. Messi, greatest career you've ever seen.
You're going to start from number 1, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to start from number 1 to number 5 because it's quite similar to yours, but there's a few order changes.
Yeah.
Messi, number 1. Totally agree. I think 2022 done it.
If Messi doesn't win the World Cup in 2022, is he the GOAT?
No, yeah. For me, yeah, but it will be an argument. Yeah. I think it will be an argument. And I would have to be like defending him. But now it's unanimous.
Yeah.
It's the same way Steph Curry won it in 2016, where he was MVP and it was unanimous. Like, everyone was just like, come on, this is the guy.
Yeah.
And now we have that with Messi. Like,
and the thing is that old heads who want to argue it, they can't.
They can't anymore. Because I remember telling my dad Messi's the GOAT, and my dad was like, until Messi wins a World Cup, Maradona done it, so I totally get it. I was like, this is his World Cup. He's done it now. And
not just done it, scored a brace. And we forget about it's a stinky brace.
What? Hey, bro, that second goal, didn't even cross the line. Like, didn't even. No, he scored a brace in the final. It's just because that Mbappe scored a hat trick.
And that's some of the iconic moments as well. The game against. Because the thing is with Messi, right?
Because wasn't they had Australia in the round of 16. The goal against Australia, the penalty, I think that was his first knockout goal in the World Cup. I remember that was his first goal in the knockouts because he already lost a World Cup final in 2014. Yeah.
When did they play against Croatia?
Semis.
Croatia semis?
Yeah, because...
Yes, it was semis. Because
he
put Vardy on the blender.
Yeah.
And he gave us iconic moments, right? Like the semis against Croatia, Vardy's being hailed as the greatest defender of this tournament. Messi puts him in the blender. Mm-hmm. In the quarterfinals, people want to see a more bombastic Messi. Gives you that to the Netherlands touchline.
Yeah. And that was a spicy game as well. Because Weghorst decided to just do a madness for some reason.
Man. And post-match, Messi was like on smoke. Like, he gave us everything that we needed.
Yeah.
He gave us... And you were lucky enough to be there.
Yeah.
Like,
and it was great. Yeah. Like, it was a great World Cup. It was the best World Cup we've seen, and I get it. Like, it was.
It had to happen.
It had to happen. Well done, Lionel. I know it, and Kylian, you tried your hardest, and I respect you for it. But we'll talk about that later. Number 2 for me is Pele. Now, the reason, because I think Pele was the original GOAT, but again, Wilt Chamberlain stuff, I've never seen it. I've never watched 90 minutes of Pele. I've seen the comps. I've even seen the comps of where they got Pele's skills and they've got people doing Pele's skills in today's game. So I've seen that. And I felt like when we were kids, even when we were kids, so I'm talking early 2000s, late 90s for you, Pele was the GOAT. We all knew who Pele was. You didn't have to know football to know who Pele, like Pele was in The Simpsons. Like AJ Styles has a move called the Pele kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pele's the guy. So I'm putting him number 2. Number 3.
Hey, careful.
I've got to be careful. I've got to be careful here.
Do who you want to do.
I want to put Cristiano Ronaldo. I do. But if we're talking the pantheon of greats, you know what? Screw it. I'm putting Ronaldo. And the reason I'm putting Ronaldo is because I think Ronaldo, when it comes to greatness, I know greatness has to do with a lot of your career. But with sport, sometimes your talent can't affect games, especially team games. I think in tennis it can, and individual sports, your talent affects it. So it's so easy to do GOAT debates there. It's just you and your talent. But with football, basketball, American football, your talent can only take you so far. In American football, you're only as good as your quarterback. In basketball, there's no one. You need a good number 2 to get to win a finals. In football,
such a big team. You
need a big team. You need something to go in your favor. And Ronaldo, I'm not saying Ronaldo has suffered with that, because Ronaldo has had somewhat of a golden generation with Portugal, and the Portugal he lost the Euros finals with to Greece in 2004 was a good. I know they had like Nuno Gomez up front, but they should have won the tournament at home. Rui Costa, Figo, you should have won the tournament. But that's that. The reason I'm putting Ronaldo over Maradona, because Maradona is going to be my number 4. But the reason I'm putting Ronaldo over Maradona is because 1, I haven't watched a lot of Maradona. 2, I just think Cristiano has more to his game than Maradona. I can say, Maradona 1986 World Cup, I know about it, and everyone that's watched Maradona, and even the debate we were having at TalkSport, everyone was saying, come on, like Maradona done this, he took a bunch of bums to the 1986 World Cup, blah blah blah, the Scudettos. Yeah, cool. I've seen Osimhen win a Scudetto, and in the same club in Napoli, he changed them niggas' lives, bro, the same way Maradona did. I know Maradona won 2, but I get it, and that's not a dispute to Maradona. Yeah, but it's just what I've seen from Ronaldo is insane. I don't think we're going to see that again. Yeah. What we've seen with Maradona, we can see that again, and we have with Messi. We saw it from the same bloody country. Yeah, I'm not going to see what I'm seeing with Ronaldo if I'm taking into an account of what he's done. Like, the guy has, I don't want to say 3 individual careers, but I think his Juventus stint is very underrated.
You don't think Mbappe can match what Ronaldo has done?
No.
What in terms of what?
In terms like goals per game, Mbappe's probably trajectory to do that, and Mbappe's won a World Cup, but Mbappe is going to have to do a lot, because if Mbappe wins 6 Champions Leagues with Real Madrid,
if Mbappe wins another World Cup, would you not put him ahead of Ronaldo?
Not yet.
Fair enough.
Not yet.
People would,
and some people would.
People make him the GOAT.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but again, I'll go to Mbappe later on. But it's different. But it's very hard to take over and kind of like disregard what Ronaldo has done to the game. So that is why I'm putting Ronaldo over Maradona. I know this is, and I know it sucks, because, and I don't even want to do that, but I'm doing it for me and my generation.
One thing on the Ronaldo thing as well, because I love Cristiano Ronaldo. If you go back and watch 2004 Euros and you look at the way the pundits are talking about him, they are saying that he is one of the best players in the world in 2004.
And bear in mind, for United, that was just after his first season at United.
Baby Ronaldo. Was it Ron Atkinson? I can't remember what pundits it were. It was like, Figo on one side, Ronaldo on the other, 2 world-class players. That's in 2004, they're saying he's world-class. Fast forward, he's still playing football today, still playing for Portugal today. I know that he probably shouldn't be playing for Portugal, if we're being honest. No, he shouldn't. We all watched the Euros, he wasn't good enough. But 20 years later, Cristiano Ronaldo is still playing football. So the longevity of Ronaldo is crazy. And the one thing, as a Chelsea fan who was in the era of Ronaldo coming through, is that we talk about it all the time, and we'll probably do like an extended episode about it, the wink that changed the world. Chelsea, with the money from Abramovich, were set to dominate English football. I saw it firsthand. I saw the way he won the title in 2005, the way he won the title in 2006. I said, it's going to take a lot to stop us. What it took to stop us was a top 5 player of all time in Cristiano Ronaldo, put a three-peat on United's head and dipped. If we want to be honest, he's the best player to ever play in the Premier League. We can't make him the GOAT because it makes our league look shit. But Ronaldo did that in the Premier League at Manchester United. He did that in La Liga with Real Madrid. He then went to Serie A later on in his career and was still sick. The other players on this list don't have that club resume.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I think his club, out of all the players on this list, his club resume is better than everyone else's. So that's why I'm putting him over Maradona. And that's just for me and my generation. I kind of do get that, like the World Cup and everything, but hey, each to their own. And I ain't watched that nigga. And plus, Maradona's from a racist country. Anyway, number 4, Diego Armando Maradona. Obviously, yeah, I've seen him doing Keep Your Peace, The Life is Life. I get it. The hand of God, blah, 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 blah. The feeling, yeah. He loves a bit of the sniff. Who doesn't? I get it. Like, I totally get as to why people put Maradona there. So I'm putting him number 4. And I'm not putting him above Ronaldo just as to what I said.
The duality of man, Tony. The quarterfinals against England, in the midst of the Falklands, he scores in the same game, Tony. He scores arguably the greatest goal in World Cup history, and then scores a goal where he cheats. It epitomizes the Argentinian spirit.
No, it does. It epitomizes Argentina and epitomizes just the Argentinian feeling, and I totally get that. But football's changed.
Yeah.
If that's today, like VAR's just saying, come on. They won't even. That would even take 5 minutes. It probably will just for banter. But VAR's just like, come on, bro. What the hell was that? Like, do you know what I mean? That just doesn't happen. But again, that's what made football special, because the same way if Rudy didn't dive, Arsenal would have gone on.
They might still be unbeaten.
They might still be unbeaten now. Who knows? I guess we'll never know. So I get it. I totally get it. So I'm not taking.
I was about to say word to Kanye, but
not yet. Not yet. I'm not taking anything away from him in the '86 World Cup, but I just don't like to use the notion that he took a bunch of bums to it. He didn't score in the fight. He scored a brace in the semis against Belgium. I'll give him that. Didn't score against he scored against England in the quarters and didn't score.
Scored 2 against England.
Yeah, and scored a brace in the semis too. Yeah. And and didn't score against Uruguay, and didn't score in the final. But he got an assist though. Hey ho. Yeah. So listen, Diego Armando Maradona, I respect you. You're still getting in the top 5, but just not above Ronaldo.
I'm interested in your number 5 though. Who's your number 5?
See, my number 5. I want to put Zidane, and I feel like I should, because as we said, this is the GOAT debate. I don't think the GOAT debate is different to who's just the best footballer.
Yeah. Best, I'll have Messi, Ronaldo did 1, 2.
Yeah. Like, I think the GOAT debate is different. I really, 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 really want to put Zidane. I do, and I think, and I agree with you for what Zidane has put for football, not only as a coach and as a player, but I want to put Mbappe, bro. I want to put Mbappe. And the only and
are you man hearing this?
Yeah, no, and you gotta let me land. You gotta let me land. You gotta you gotta let me land. You've got to let me land here. You've got to let me land.
Go on.
Mbappe is eventually going to win the Champions League. We can all agree with that. He's going to do that eventually. What I saw in the 2022 World Cup, I don't think a lot of these players, I think only those 5 players in this list we've just named can do that.
Yeah.
I think that. What he was doing, because we all wanted Messi to win. It was in a World Cup final against France, and it wasn't even a stacked France team. This wasn't the 2018. I think 2018 was a much better team.
2020 France was actually better.
Exactly, and who messed it up for them? Mbappe.
Yeah.
So he messed it up for them against Switzerland, right?
Pogba
hoops that game, put Mbappe. That was finally Benzema and Mbappe together.
Yeah.
Mbappe stunk it up for them, missed his penalty in the round of 16. France are out. He's going to there. He wasn't the captain. Lloris was the captain, but he's now the captain. But he goes to there at that World Cup to win back-to-back World Cups, by the way, in the final, scores a hat-trick in the final, something we haven't done since 66, and Sir Jeff Hurst, by the way, right, that nigga from Ashton-under-Lyne, blood. Like, we've not seen someone score a hat-trick in the World Cup final since then. Mbappe goes and does that. Bear in mind, against the GOAT. France were not in that game until Mbappe just scored and said, you know what, screw it, guys, I'm not losing this game. He said, you man can, but I'm not. Done everything in his power. He scored 3 penalties that game, 2 in regular time, and then also in the penalties shootout, he scored as well. Like, he, as David alluded to, in the background, as he alluded to, he just said he was in flow state, bro.
Yeah.
And there's only certain footballers that can do that, that can just take the game. That is the epitome of taking the game by the scruff of its neck, and doing that at the World Cup final is unheard of.
Bear in mind, the second goal is one of the best goals.
One of the best World Cup goals I've ever. Because bear in mind, he scored the penalty in the first, and then 50-something seconds later,
ball comes over the top.
Ball comes over the top. Like, we all saw it in slow motion, and we all just said, hit it.
Yeah,
like
and
that,
he did it.
and he did it. Because normally the right thing to do is probably take a touch, go find a thing. But everyone in us it's in the air, just hit it, and he hit it, and it went in. And I'm so sorry. And even that dribble he done at the end, where that dribble, I don't think I know. Listen, it went out for a corner or whatever, but you've got to go and watch it. Go and watch it, because he stood up 3 niggas, bro.
Yeah.
He just said there's no one's ever gonna do that in a World Cup. That's not a football. You shouldn't do that in football. Really and truly, he should look up. Try and do the right thing. He just said, screw it. I am taking everyone on because I'm not losing this game. And you can't do that in an 11-a-side game, bro. Like, only the best of the best of the best. So it is very, very, hear me out. It is very, very scary to put him in the top 5.
Bro, it's spooky. Write that down and see what that looks like.
And no, so that's why, and I can admit that. However, he was, I don't even want to say 90 minutes away from it. He was who missed in the Marcus Thuram missed in the penalty shootout. He was a Marcus Thuram penalty away from, because if he wins that World Cup, he's in this list. Like, let's keep it a buck. And that's not down to him. He done everything in his power to be one of the best. So don't get it twisted. I'm putting him in here now because I think it's a bit too early.
You're projecting.
I'm projecting.
Okay.
Because
I don't hate the projection.
Yeah.
I just think.
Because don't get it twisted. If someone put a gun to my head and put Zidane over Mbappe, I'm gonna be like, yeah, fine, Zidane. Like, I'm more than happy with that. Yeah. But when it's all said and done, Mbappe is gonna be in this list, bro.
Okay.
I think he's really gonna be in this list. And I'm sorry, it wasn't even his fault. Like, if he lost in regular time, I said, oh, you could have done something. He scored a hat-trick in the final, scored his penalty. He done everything in his possible power to affect that game against the GOAT.
Yeah.
And just fell short from being the GOAT. Yeah. So I'm so sorry. You have to be in there.
The thing is, you know what? I like wild take, but it's not even wild because you backed it up with facts. I just think
it's just early. It's too early. And I can agree with that. Early.
Because the thing is, it's like, yeah, we expect him to win the Champions League, but he hasn't won it yet.
Yeah,
he hasn't won it yet, and he hasn't got a Ballon d'Or yet. And I know there's some players on this list haven't got Ballon d'Ors, but I think
Ballon d'Ors have only become a modern thing.
I agree.
It's only become a modern thing.
I agree. One thing I was looking at this list in terms of my list, and including your list as well. So Messi, Maradona, and Zidane have all played in 2 World Cup finals and won one. And in your list as well, Messi, Maradona and Mbappe played in 2 World Cup finals, won one, and lost one. And I feel like the first person in the modern era to be the franchise player on the team that wins 2 World Cups, those conversations are going to be accelerated. And that's why I get the Mbappe conversation, because if he puts 2 World Cups on our head tops in this era, yeah, we ain't seen that. That's what Pele was doing. We haven't seen that. Yeah. The greats only have one. It's only Pele that's got 3. And so I understand that. I think R9's got 2, but he didn't really play in 94. So yeah,
he got the medal, didn't he?
He got the medal. So, but I hear it. I just think it's early for Mbappe. But again, I'm sure you're going to let us know in the comments what you think about it. These conversations create so much debate. When we did our basketball one, obviously very divisive. Most of our audience are football fans. This one's going to go platinum because people are going
to try and cook me, but you'll see the vision. You'll see it.
No, bro. And the thing is, when you started, I didn't like it. But when you finish, I don't mind projection, bro. I don't mind projection because it's like, if you're doing your top 10 NBA players of all time, so if someone's like, I'm putting Jokic in there over Hakeem, I'm not going to hate.
You're not going to hate it because it's going to be eventually.
Yeah,
I'm just getting ahead of the curve.
No, I don't hate it. And then you can play this clip back when he actually goes into the top 5. But yeah, bro, it's a good list. So just to refresh your list from 1 to 5, go again.
So I go Messi, Pele, Ronaldo, Maradona, and Mbappe.
I'll go Messi, Maradona, Pele, Ronaldo, Zidane. So, yeah.
Not bad.
Give or take a Frenchman, we've got the same list.
Yeah. take your French, take your African country you want to colonise, and either Algeria or Cameroon, whichever you want.
All right, that's it for football. Do you want to go NBA first, or you want to go do the striker chat?
We might as well stick to the striker chat since we're in football, and then we'll talk about NBA.
All right. Well, what do you want to talk about strikers?
Well, I think we should.
Because you got a horse in this race.
Yeah,
I ain't got a horse in this race.
What? Because Chelsea have no strikers.
Well, because Osimhen's Nigerian.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, this is the thing we've been talking about. We actually done a video on this a year ago, or maybe just after the Euros, where we were talking, and this was before Osimhen went to Galatasaray. This was between Osimhen and Isak. We were saying who's better, Osimhen or Isak. You were obviously in the camp of Isak. I was in the camp of Osimhen. This was before the season happened, and Isak had this season he's having for Newcastle. So let me land. But now Andrea Berto is now Arsenal sporting director. David Ornstein came out with a bomber yesterday saying Arsenal were linked heavily with Victor Gyökeres. So we decided to put, you know what, right now, because the striker market's kind of dead.
It's stinky.
It's stinky. It's the most stinkiest I've ever seen in my time of living, which is insane to think, but here we are. So we're thinking of 3 strikers right now who are in their prime at the moment or Isak maybe going into their prime. So I'm talking Victor Gyökeres, who again is the top goal scorer of anyone this season with 42 goals. Alexander Isak, who people think is one of the world's best strikers or the best striker in the Premier right now, even though he isn't. But, he's still got Erling Haaland. And then Victor Osimhen, who was in these conversations, but I guess because he moved to Galatasaray, it's kind of just like no one cares about the Turkish league, and Mourinho's not helping where he says that you guys don't watch the Turkish league and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, firstly, rank those 3.
Yeah.
And just rank them.
Okay, cool. So you got a question for me. I'll answer this, and I'll got a question for you afterwards. Rank Gyökeres, Isak, and Osimhen. It's so hard, bro. It's like take your pick. I'll put Isak number 1. I think Isak, regardless of system, I think I'll be confident that he'd be able to deliver to a certain level. Again, that might be recency bias. That might just be the fact that he put forth a great season this year. Might be the fact that we're 2 weeks removed from him winning a cup final and him scoring a winning goal in there and giving us a legendary celebration. I'll put Isak number 1. I'll put Osimhen number 2, and I'll put Gyökeres number 3. Osimhen, the thing about Osimhen is that I was the biggest fan, and then I went to watch AFCON. And I looked at the Nigeria team, and I said, this Nigeria team is sick. For AFCON, I'll not even say for AFCON, it's a sick team. You've got like really, really good players. Players that, in hindsight now, if you look at what Ola's doing, look at what Alex Iwobi's doing, look at what Lookman went on to do.
We helped.
That Nigerian team is sick. Yeah. Like objectively, Chukwuezi's playing at a high level. Like you didn't have Ndidi weren't there.
No, Ndidi wasn't there.
Your midfield's a bit of a problem, but you had some ballers, and Troost-Ekong was hard in that tournament. And you had, but going into that tournament, people would argue the best striker in the world, barring Erling Haaland. And he did a lot of the dirty work for the team, did a lot of the running. But in major tournaments, I want to see your gunmen. When we went through our top 5 players of all time, those players deliver at major tournaments, not in terms of the performance. We don't really care about the performance. It's what you're doing in front of goal. And I know he had so many goals disallowed.
He had 3.
He had 3 goals disallowed, and the tournament looks a lot different if those goals count, but they were disallowed. And when you leave a tournament that your team loses in the final and you only score 1 goal, I think it's difficult for me as somebody who was
in the
there.
opening game as well.
It was in the opening game. So as someone that was there, I was there to see a couple of players. I was there to see Mohamed Kudus. I was there to see if Mo Salah could finish a story and capture a chip. And I was there to see Victor Osimhen. I was scouting. I was like, let's see what he's got. And he didn't deliver, unfortunately. And now, Mourinho might be right. People don't watch Turkish football, but you are out in the wilderness where people aren't watching you week in, week out. You're a Champions League level striker that's playing in the Europa League. You're a world-class striker that's playing in the league that's not world-class. And so I understand why the stocks are low on Victor Osimhen, but when you compare him to Gyökeres, I can't escape the fact that Gyökeres was playing for Coventry two years ago, and that might be
Ellis Sims and them, man.
I might be being too harsh on the Championship, but there is still a thing in me where I watched him when they played against City, when Sporting turned over City, and he banged in that game. But there was a few chances that he missed. I said, I don't know if that's world class. And Sporting kind of fallen off a cliff since Amrin's left, but he's still scoring his goals. But I think. And maybe this is a case of we saw Darwin Núñez come from Portugal and he looked like Gyökeres.
Yeah, Darwin, he was scoring near enough
with a bigger body of work.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I'm just a little bit skeptical on Gyökeres. If he goes to the wrong situation, I don't know if it can work. Whereas I've seen Osimhen in multiple situations and he still does give you output. So to answer your question, I have Isak 1, Osimhen 2, Gyökeres 3, but. As a team, as a fan of a team that needs a striker, I'll take any 3 of those players.
Okay. So you'll take Gyökeres?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess because you need a striker. Yeah.
And what about you? So that's the question I was going to ask you. First of all, rank them.
Yeah, no, I think ranking-wise, I agree. I agree. I'm saying Isak first. I'm not silly. And I'm saying Osimhen second and Gyökeres third. But what was your other question?
Other question was, Now, this is going to bring another striker into it. As a Man United fan, you obviously have to, again, you're not as broke as people are making out. You got money to spend in the summer, but also it's a scarcity issue, right? You need to allocate resources to multiple positions. But as a Man United fan, if you're given the option of those three, and I'm going to include someone that I really like, Liam Delap in that, bear in mind price, bear in mind age, bear in mind availability, out of GWEKU'S, out of Isak, out of Osimhen, out of Liam Delap, who would you take at Man United if you put price into it as well?
Okay, because we don't have the funds, so Isak will be 120.
I think Isak's impossible for it.
So it's impossible. So let's take that out of the equation. GWEKU'S will be 60, 70, but he's going to be 27 in the summer. And that's not really, and 27 is not old. I'm 27 right now. I still feel like I can do a bit of a job. But footballing wise, and where Ineos are trying to go, we're trying to buy young players. Like all the players we've signed, I think the oldest player Ineos have signed at the moment was Ugarte, and he was 24.
Yeah.
So like we're trying to do from 16 to 24.
But like Ugarte played at Sporting, right? Obviously the link there with Amarin.
With Amarin, yeah, 100%.
With GWEKU'S. So maybe it's like a seamless transition.
It's a seamless transition when it comes to Amarin's system, 100%. But I feel like Amarin's football, I feel like so many people are fixated on Amarin's 3-4-2-1 that because we haven't seen it I say we haven't seen it in the Premier League. This is what Oliver Glasner's playing. It's the same formation. And this is what a lot of people in Europe, I feel like 3-4-2-1 is going to be the new 4-2-3-1. People like Leverkusen play it. I saw Mainz playing it yesterday.
We play that. We play basically three at the back.
Yeah, like people were because when Pep was playing three at the back 2 seasons ago, but he was playing like 3-6-1, and everyone was just like, "Why is he playing three at the back?" Because it's such an attacking formation.
Yeah, but that's why we went and got Quenda, like because we're playing.
So this is the thing, because three at the back in our day was like what Allardyce used to play and stuff like that, and it was 5 at the back. It wasn't 3, it was 5. You're playing with like you're just putting so many people back, 5-3-2, lump it up to the 2 people up top. So that's why in this country we still have that notion that 3 at the back is a defensive formation. When it comes to these strikers, Liam Delap, I like Liam Delap. I think he's good at football. I think he came from City's academy, so he can judge a bit, especially when I saw him playing against us. I can see like he's got a bit, for his stature, it's not like he's just a lump up front. He can be a hassle for defenders, but also he can play football. So I do like Liam Delap. However, I'm just scared of, one, is the shirt going to be too much for him? Because I feel like the Man United shirt is such, for a number 9 right now, we're seeing it in Rasmus Højlund. I don't think Rasmus Højlund's a bad footballer, but the shirt is way too big for the brother. Yeah. The same way how I think even when it comes to Marcus Rashford a bit, I feel like, look at him now. People are saying he's playing with a smile on his face and stuff like that. He scored his first brace in like 11 something games. If this was for United right now, no one would be saying he has a smile on his face. Everyone would be like, "Oh, it's only Preston." Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
It is only Preston.
But exactly, that's my point. But because it's for Aston Villa, no one cares. Yeah. But if it was for Man United,
it's different narrative.
I
always say this about Man United. Like, as much as I wanna joke on Man United, it's just a different pressure.
It's a different pressure.
When you're playing 4:30 almost every Sunday, it feels
all eyes on me, man.
All eyes on me. When every other pundit on TV is an ex-Man United player, whether it's Roy Keane, Gary Neville, Paul Scholes, Rio Ferdinand, every Sunday telling you how bad you are when you're not winning trophies, bro. It's an impossible situation to get out of. Like, I think the weight of playing for Manchester United, people have to appreciate. I know they're like, oh, but they haven't won a title in 11 years. Yeah, bro, it's still Man United. They're still the zeitgeist. They're still the centre of the footballing universe. We do a show on Thursdays at TalkSport. We know what topic gets us the most calls. It's Man United. Man United is still Man United. So I completely agree. The shirt is too big for some players.
Yeah, so I feel like that could be, I'm not saying it could be for Liam Delap, and that's totally fine. He's only this is his first season of Premier League football. So that's why I might not do that. Yeah, GWEKU'S seamless transition, but age-wise. But I think Osimhen.
Yeah, I can't say it then.
No, but
you went around the houses to say what you wanted to say.
Exactly, and this is what I want to say. So I feel like the reason why I want Osimhen, as a Nigerian, it's nice. Of course. It's nice, because our only Nigerian's Igalo, and I think that's insane. But even still, Igalo wasn't that bad for us. But with Osimhen, I feel like, one, the way he plays, I feel like fans in England will love him. Because one thing we love in this country more than actual footballing ability is running. I think fans love it because that's the only thing.
Escape that. Though.
No. We need to escape that, but I don't think we will anytime soon. It's just the way it's just embedded in our culture in this country. We love running. If you don't run, Like if you're not running like a headless chicken, we hate it because that show apparently it doesn't show passion, stuff like that. You know what it is.
Yeah.
So that's one thing he does. Another thing too is that even if we don't create the chances for him, his running and his I can say it. His mentality of just. No, but it's how he plays. It's you've got a Nigerian boy who's very good at football, who's running around constantly.
Bro, I see it
and being a hassle for defenders.
Like at Chelsea, like it's a bit different. But Nicholas Jackson's got that. She's like, it's non-conventional.
It's non-conventional.
Yeah.
But it's just that African. It's just when you just got Af niggas doing that, bro, and that's why like. They love it in this country because I feel like maybe Chelsea fans, we all know Nicolas Jackson isn't the greatest finisher, but he creates goals for himself.
Chelsea fans love him,
and Chelsea fans love him because we love running in this country. Yeah. So that's what we will get with Osimhen. But with Osimhen, he does that so much that it creates chances for him. Mm-hmm. And right now we need goals. I feel like through his career, he can guarantee you to maybe 15 to 20 goals. So I feel like seamless out of all, I think he ticks all the boxes we need right now in regards to like age-ish, because he's only 25, 26.
How much are you willing to pay for him?
Well, he's got a release clause supposedly, which is like 60M. So if we can spend 60Ms, and that's euros.
And what wages would you have to want to pay him?
Well, so this is the thing. Man United's wage structure is in transition at the moment, hence why we're talking about Kobbie Mainoo's contract. There's so many people on stupid money. Mason Mount's on 250. Ericsson was on like 190. Lindelof's on like 1 something. But because a lot
though.
Exactly. So because a lot of these people are going, and the fact that Bruno signed his contract now, that at the start of the season under Ineos, it kind of helps. He didn't need to have a new contract, but what that does now is it
sets the cap.
It sets the cap. Yeah. It's the CJ McCollum debate. Yeah. Like, you know how like remember when Christian Kirk went to the Jags and ruined it for everyone? Yeah. It's now okay. If you want Bruno Fernandes money, you better perform like Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like now, because players like Kobbie Mainoo, even though he's got 2 years left on his deal, he's like, brother, I am good enough. You're paying Ericsson this money. You're paying Mount this money. These niggas ain't playing. You might as well give me that money, even though Kobbie's not even worth that money right now. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to Kobbie, but
I get the body of work.
But body of work, he doesn't have the body of work yet. But unfortunately, because we're paying people stupid money, he's somewhat, and his agent will be like, "You're entitled to this money," and I totally get
that.
As
his agent should,
and as his agent should. That's what agents are there for. So with Osimhen and his body of work, he doesn't need to be on like crazy. He can easily be on like 200 something K and be on Mason Mount money, and no one's going to bat an eyelid because he's going to be the main man for Man United. So I think that's totally fine. So I think wages, and apparently according to Graham Bailey, he doesn't mind if we don't make Champions League football.
Yeah, fair enough. No, I hear it, bro. I hear it. And you've made those arguments and you've given those points. And if you're going through those options, I can understand it for Man United. And as a Nigerian Man United fan, why wouldn't you say Osimhen?
It's like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, it makes sense. For me as a Chelsea fan, real quickly, I would go Liam Delap. When I look at them CFA niggas, bro, we all talk about Hale End, we all talk about Carrington, we talk about Cobham, but in recent years, bro, it's CFA. Yeah. It's CFA. Like we can talk about how Phil Foden's playing right now, but Phil Foden's a top player, like last season player of the season. Look at Cole Palmer, you look at Morgan Rogers, you look at Liam Delap. Like they're producing players, bro. Yeah. Who's the guy who came off the bench?
Harbour Bellis.
Yeah, Nico O'Reilly came off the bench and got 2 assists against Bournemouth.
They're just spawning out some bare light-skinned niggas from anywhere, bro.
And that's what happens when you have Pep at your club for almost a decade. All of a sudden, the club starts to be in the image of the greatest manager of all time. And he starts to produce these really good footballers who need to find the right situation. Morgan Rogers has found the right situation at Aston Villa. He's playing in the Champions League quarter-final. You find a player like Liam Delap who's in the Ipswich team, they're not creating, but he's still scoring goals. Look at Cole Palmer, who's having a bad season this year at Chelsea, but in his first year, scored 22 league goals. This season, scored 14. Like, I trust that City Academy. Also, Liam Delap is from a footballing family, which I also do like. And I've also like it when it's like the dad wasn't amazing,
but you're better.
Yeah, exactly. Like Erling Haaland kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where like the dad was a good footballer, like a decent footballer, but the son, because he's learned and he's from good stock. Yeah, okay, you can talk about Haaland's dad. Well, but
I was talking about Rory Delap, but go for it.
Yeah, well, he's a Barclays man. So.
Yeah.
But like I trust it, and I saw Liam Delap play against Chelsea in the league when Ipswich beat us, which is a crazy sentence to say. And he bullied our defence. He absolutely bullied.
He's a hassle with defenders. I give him that.
And the variation of finishing as well. I saw like 2 goals scored against Aston Villa. I said, yeah. And for the money, if Ipswich go down, if it's 40, 50 mil for Liam Delap, I'm taking that risk. And I think for a team like Chelsea, it's almost like the perfect fit where it's not Man United. Like Liam Delap at Man United, I think it's the disaster because, like you say, the spotlight, the pressure of being an English striker as well. Whereas at Chelsea, I think that there's not as much spotlight. We need a striker, and I think the shirt would fit him quite well. So I mean, for me as a Chelsea fan, I want Liam Delap. But let's see what happens. These strikers are going to be on the move. The fact that Ornstein's given us the KWEKU'S thing in March tells us that there's going to be movement. The Isak one, we'll have to see what happens. I don't think anyone can afford him. But yeah, let's see what happens to the striker market. But both our teams need one desperately. I'll take any of them.
Exactly. And I'll take anyone at this rate,
yeah,
right?
man. All right, let's move to the association. Brother, there's crashing out. And there's what Stephen A. Smith has been doing for the past week. Like, I love Stephen A., right? And what he has created in America is very much kind of creating a pathway for what we want to do.
Yeah.
Being able to speak about sports, how we talk about sports. As a black man working in America for a company like ESPN that's owned by Disney, when they got $100 million contract, that's an athlete's contract. And Stephen A. Smith's getting that as a journalist. Like, he's created an incredible brand. When you think about ESPN, you think about Stephen A. Smith. Like, we don't need to wax lyrical about how great this man is. We know it. We see it. He's got it all. There's people in America that want him to run for next president. That's how good that man is at talking. But what he's doing and what he's engaging in with LeBron James, I think is so beneath him, is bringing out the worst of Stephen A. Smith and is making people start to look sideways at a guy who should be considered the GOAT when it comes to his industry. And what we're talking about for people who are uninformed or living under a rock is that a couple of weeks ago, LeBron James confronted Stephen A. Smith when you're sitting courtside and effectively said, "Stop talking about my son. Like, keep my son's name out of your mouth." To which Stephen A. responded pretty sheepishly. And I think a part of the reason why Stephen A. has gone so hard is that thing was recorded and he looked like a bitch. And I think that as a man, his ego is because when he talks about it, it's like players can come and find me. But when LeBron,
like LeBron has my number.
when a 6'9" nigga sticks it on you courtside, you had nothing to say. Yeah. And the images of you courtside after you look sad. And this is the day that you got given a £100 million contract, $100 million contract. That it don't look good. Yeah. I think a part of what he's reacting right now, he's lashing out because his ego's been hurt. But to respond the way that he has responded to that initial situation, which he said that he didn't want to talk about until he found out that it was recorded, the footage got put out there. He said on first day the next day that he's talking about it now because his boss has said he has to talk about it. Fair enough, if that's the only time we talk about it. But subsequent to talking about it on First Take, where he claims that LeBron James, he understood where LeBron James was coming from as a father, but he done it the wrong way, whatever. We don't need to get into the nuances of it. We thought it was left there after he addressed it on First Take. Then he goes on like this media tour. LeBron James calls it a Taylor Swift tour, where he's on different podcasts on his own platform talking about LeBron James, not keeping LeBron James's name out of his mouth. And LeBron James has the right to retort. The thing that we want from athletes, we want them to be more open. We want them to be more expressive when it comes to the media. And LeBron James was in Indiana. He said, "Let me go and check in on Pat McAfee." And he gave us one of the best sporting interviews we've had this year. An hour-long interview with arguably the GOAT. You don't get that these days. Like, the GOAT of football doesn't speak English. We don't know what Messi's personality is.
No, exactly.
Like, LeBron James has given a media personality his time. And we apart from the Stephen A. Smith stuff, we've got some incredible insight. We've got LeBron with his guard down, telling us about how he thought the 2003 draft was rigged. But the part that everyone's taken out from that interview is the 4 minutes where he talks about Stephen A. Smith. And again, I'm paraphrasing, but he said that Stephen A. Smith got it all wrong. He didn't understand where he was coming from. He basically said Stephen A. Smith doesn't know ball. And there's other things in there as well. But just retorting to what Stephen A. had said on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, on his own podcast, and on First Take. Stephen A. got on his feelings, and you were the one who alerted me to it because we were in the office. He's like, "Kweku, have you seen what Stephen A. Smith's doing? He's going crazy." And he was spazzing out, basically saying that on his own podcast, he said that if LeBron James put hands on me, I would have swung on him.
He said that, yeah. Right. But then he immediately said after that, like, LeBron James is 6'9", height 250, born on December 30th, 1984, that he would, like, kill him, obviously. Yeah, and he did say that, but obviously people just clipped that part.
LeBron James, in response to Stephen A. Smith saying that he'd swing on him, posted that video of Stephen A. Smith sparring or punching them, and it looks embarrassing. That's very it's a funny tweet from LeBron. But they've been engaging in a back and forth that is so dirty. And somebody said this to me. Somebody said, "I have the right to my opinion, and you have the right to have an opinion on my opinion. But nobody needs to have an opinion on your opinion of my opinion. You both have opinions. That's a conversation. That's done. Yeah. We don't need to hear anything else. After LeBron James done the Pat McAfee.
But this is what we're doing.
Yeah, this is what we're doing, which is kind of hypocritical. But like, they are the people who are involved in it. And also, this is beneath two black men in America who are at the top of their trade. What Stephen A. Smith, in my opinion, should have done is what Brian Windhorst did. Just brush it. Like, you've talked about it already. Right now, you're looking like a bitter ex. Right now, you're looking like somebody who wants to be friends with LeBron James and he doesn't want to be friends with you. And right now, you're looking real funny and real stupid. And what smacks it with Stephen A. is that if he's not careful, like, Stephen A. has built his brand, and Stephen A. was right in a sense that he was here before in basketball. Stephen A. was a beat writer doing this. I want to get the Dreams of Nightmare background, but we all know what Stephen A. has done before LeBron James was in the league, and Stephen A. will be doing what he's doing after LeBron's in the league. So I totally get where Stephen A. is coming from. I totally get why Stephen A. meant. I thought he was okay. What he said about Bronny, I think the delivery was wrong. I think what Stephen A. because Stephen A. was like, as a father, but like, if you niggas don't know that Stephen A. that has a child, if you don't really know who Stephen A. But he was like, as a father, I would have like stop it, like take him out. Like, Bronny was the 50-something pick. Like, he dropped 39 in the G League the other day. You can't name me other than, I think Quentin Post is the only other 50th pick I know from this era or from this draft. Like, you can't name me the others and what they're doing in the G League right now. But because he's LeBron James, and I totally get that, but he's getting that media coverage. But I think Stephen A.'s delivery was wrong. So you can have your point, but it's all about delivery. And hence why LeBron confronted him, blah, 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 blah. But now, because his ego's bruised, he's now taken it, it's now past the whole Bronny situation. It's now becoming beef with arguably one of the greatest niggas of all time. And I'm so sorry. Why would you want to beef one of the greatest niggas of all time? Because as a journalist, it's just never going to look good for you. Because the whole point of being a journalist is building rapport with players to make them seem as human as possible. Because the media, and maybe more so in this country rather than America, in this country, we don't portray athletes as human. We don't. We put them on a pedestal. We put them on this crazy pedestal, and we're ready to chop them off that pedestal as soon as they do something as human as possible. So, but in America, we get more of that. You're allowed to be in the locker room. They swear you can have Anthony Edwards watch his dunk over. Who's did he dunk over at the Jazz? John Collins, and John Collins, and he was like, on that nigga, like, and the guy, like, the white guy was just like, he literally just said nigga on the air, but just did not bat an eyelid. So we get that in America, but in England we don't. But the thing is with Stephen A. is what he's doing now is that he, like, if LeBron wasn't LeBron and this was a player maybe just below LeBron's level, or maybe like a young player coming up, this could affect other journalists if he's not careful. But because Stephen A. has built this platform, Stephen A. is going to be here before LeBron, and LeBron's smart enough to not ruin this for other people. But you've got to be careful, bro. Because now, like, mentioning the Kobe stuff, Kobe had nothing to do. That was crazy. That's just you showing your bruised ego now. But do you think Stephen A. Smith has a point in terms of what this comes down to? And what basketball debates all seem to come down to is who's the GOAT. Because that's what it feels like. No. Because if Stephen A. Smith was on TV like Shannon Sharp, every time he's got the opportunity saying LeBron James is the GOAT, is the situation happening? No, it's not. And so I saw footage the other day of LeBron James at a game. Nick Wright is courtside and LeBron James is dapping him up like he's his brother. Because Nick Wright, every time he's on TV, anytime he gets a chance... Well, of course, brother. LeBron James is the brother, to say, like, I guarantee you right now, if we start slandering any of the Nigerian players in AFCON and we blow, by the time we go AFCON, they will probably say they're not going to dap us up. But then that's the issue. And again, always comes down to Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Is saying that a guy is the second greatest player of all time when there's been thousands of players that played in the league an insult. It might be an insult to LeBron James because and that's what we need. It's the delivery. It's the delivery. It always comes down to delivery. There's one thing, that I learned from I've learned from women, is delivery, bro. Like, no, I'll keep it a buck. Your point can be the exact same point, but it's about the delivery. And you can't tell someone how to like, even if you're making a point, you can't tell someone how they feel about your point. One thing I've learned about women is that, like, I can say
this thing is red, yeah, and that thing is green. But if I deliver it in a type of way that might affect someone or affect the plant somehow, it's all about delivery. Saying LeBron James is the second best player in all time is maybe a fact, but that's not the worst case scenario. But by you trying to, like, bro, I saw Skip Bayless in an old Cleveland's jersey with a headband with a brick going like that. Like, that is like... Skip built that stuff brick by brick, right? Yeah. Skip is never going to dap up LeBron James because it's about the delivery. And of course that created First Take for what it was, and it created beautiful scenes, and that's what...
The golden era.
And that made the golden era of First Take.
Yeah.
But LeBron's not going to dap up Skip.
Yeah.
The same, like, you can be a journalist...
LeBron in his whole 22-year career has never mentioned Skip Bayless'
not
name.
Once, because Skip took it extreme. Like, I'm sorry, that picture of Skip with the brick is insane.
But then maybe Stephen A should take it as a compliment. Because LeBron, if he don't really...
Yeah, but Stephen A he's built that platform.
Yeah.
But what he's doing right now is, like, it's kind of denting... I'm not going to say it's going to dent his legacy because he's built so much that, like, it's going to take a lot. But... you're not helping yourself. You're really not helping yourself. And what you've got to realize is that once you have this platform like this, just use it. Don't even use it for good, but don't try and come for LeBron. Of all people, LeBron James. Like, come for a nigga like Isaiah Stewart. Like, that nigga got ejected last night. I have not seen one compilation of Isaiah Stewart having a point, rebound, assist, thingy.
Has he got a point in terms of putting Bronny on that pedestal, saying that he's better than half the players in the league when he wasn't even in the league yet? Because LeBron James saying that has put a target on but Bronny's not that.
Of course. But one thing we all know about LeBron James, and if we ever decide to blow and LeBron sees this, we all know this, the nigga's a pathological liar. So like that's not news, bro. The same way LeBron James, that's my favorite saying. No, that nigga, that was not your favorite saying. We all know sometimes, when it comes to LeBron James, the nigga's a pathological liar. And that's okay because he's the greatest nigga alive. It's okay. So we all know when he said, Bronny's better than half these cats in the league. That was probably after a couple red wines. And like, do you know what I mean? Savannah probably took his phone after that. Like, come on, leave him alone. We all know LeBron's a pathological liar. That's okay. So... But you can't just then come for Bronny. And I'm not saying you can't not talk about Bronny. If Bronny's playing ass, he's playing ass. That's okay. There's a difference between... That's the whole point of journalism.
So do you think that... Okay, I'm playing devil's advocate because I agree with you, right? I'm on side, Team LeBron. But do you think Stephen A. Smith was fair in his initial rebuttal to LeBron?
Yes, he was fair in the initial, but it was the delivery. It was the delivery.
No, but this is where I disagree. Like, if someone comes to chat in your face like that courtside on an aggressive thing, being like fucking whatever, and you're 6'9", I think you're fair enough to go and respond in whatever way you want to
of course,
initially. But then it's the bit afterwards. So LeBron's just then gone to the Pat McAfee show, and Stephen A's done the most.
It's a bit afterwards. The bit afterwards that he's crashing out. When LeBron responded on First Take, when Stephen A responded on First Take, I think that was fine. I think that was fine. And then like he's allowed to respond, and I think he done well in his response on First Take. It was then after what he was saying on his show and the Gilbert Arenas podcast where he was moving crazy. That's when I was just like, all right, now you're just going away from the original rebuttal when this is just moving crazy.
Zach, you saying now what?
I think he was cool on his response, and even the tours he was calm. But what's happened now, where he's gone after Pat McAfee, that's where he's gone mad.
But he hasn't gone after Pat McAfee though.
Because Gil and them, I don't know if you watched the podcast, because they put their take on what happened. And it was actually like McCants was actually spitting facts for once, talking about journalism and players and blah blah blah. It actually was making sense. So for him to go on there wasn't out the blue, and it was actually a really good podcast. It was a good crossover. It was a big story. Do you know what I'm saying? And my guy's a journalist. Like, what do you expect from him?
But
see, after the fact, when he went mad talking about
you've lost it.
What I would say as well is that he is being a hypocrite, right? Because what he said, and this is what the brother said, I bet he's smiling the fact that I've mentioned his name. Because what Stephen A. Smith said initially is that I was not going to address this, but when it was recorded, the producers said you've got to address it on air. Fair enough. The producers didn't tell you to go to Gilbert Arenas' podcast.
No,
the producers didn't tell you to do it on your own show.
Exactly.
So they did, so you did want to talk about it.
Exactly.
So like you're enjoying this. So enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Don't pretend
enjoy it by being disciplined.
By being disciplined. Don't pretend as if you're not enjoying it. Don't pretend as if okay, America's not the world, but one of the biggest athletes, one of the greatest athletes of all time is mentioning your name, and you got this big back and forth that every other podcast, including our own, is talking about. You're enjoying this. Your followers have gone up. Your Ps will go up. Everything is going up because unfortunately we live in an attention economy where even if it's bad attention, it's good. ESPN have rolled out 5 or 6 different versions of the video.
Bro, that was the whole show. If I was producing First Take, I said, forget what happened in the NBA last night. What game? What Lakers game was that?
I don't know.
Exactly. We couldn't even tell you. Was that the crypto arena? I don't know. All I know is LeBron was there and saw Stephen A, and that's what mattered. So like at the end of the day, especially speaking from a producer mindset,
with the Knicks.
There you go. I don't know. I don't remember that.
It makes sense if it's the Knicks.
Because Stephen A was there. Yeah, exactly. No, that makes sense. Stephen A.
But
if I could think about it, why would Stephen A be at LA?
But you know what's so crazy? It's like. Again, Stephen A is a journalist. He's been doing it for a long time, and again, he's somebody that I look up to in regards to just talking your shit, but being eloquent about it and being researched. And he's great at what he does. But this recent crash out, the way that he's talking about if he puts hands on me, why are you creating fake scenarios?
Yeah,
why are you
bro.
Fake situation? If he did put hands on you, like that's the most insulting to LeBron James to say that at his job he's going to put hands on you. He just stepped to you to say that. Oh, if he put hands on me, nobody said he was going to put hands on you. Nobody brought that into the equation apart from you. And then LeBron's posted a little meme, and you've lost your mind over it, being keep that up there because if that's how people think that I fight, I want it to think, bro, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. And LeBron James, in an hour-long interview, he gave you 4 minutes. You gave him 17 minutes at the start of First Take, a soliloquy that Molly didn't even interrupt. Like it was a sermon. I felt like I was in a Baptist church. Like we didn't need it.
Yeah, we did.
Of course it's entertaining. Of course you grab the popcorn. Of course we're going to talk about it. But Stephen A, I think you should just chill. Like unless LeBron James brings your name up again, which would be hilarious if he does it, chill out. Because the Kobe Memorial stuff is where it's like, oh, you're crashing out now and you're just saying anything. Because LeBron was there at the Kobe Memorial. He wasn't filmed there. He maybe came through the back door, whatever, we don't know, but he was there. So for you to start bringing up somebody who's dead in the way to try and bring down LeBron James, and the fact that, and you know that I think that Jordan's the GOAT, but the fact that you had Jordan's credentials to say why he's the GOAT, where we're having a different conversation, told you what the crux of the argument is from both sides. Yeah. I do think that if Steve A is calling LeBron the GOAT...
Yeah, but this never would have happened, though.
This never would have happened. But if... Yeah, I don't know. I just think that it's down to the GOAT debate. Because LeBron said it himself. They said, have you got a relationship with Michael Jordan? He goes, no, we're in a good place, but I'm still playing.
Yeah. Like, we don't need to. And listen, LeBron, like, Michael Jordan's never going to have a relationship with you if you're still playing.
If you're still playing, yeah. You got to retire. Like, LeBron said that him and Kobe only had a real relationship when LeBron joined the Lakers. Obviously, at the Olympics, they started to be friends, but it was only when Kobe wasn't playing. When you're one of these greats, bro, you got an ego, especially in basketball, where I think more than any other sport, we rank. We're like, who's the greatest? We've all got a top 3, we've got a whatever. So, like, I get it. There's ego involved on both sides, but if you ask me what side I fall on, I'm on Team LeBron, bro. Stephen A, chill out.
Yeah, and just don't skew the relationship between... I think in America, it's skewed the relationship between journalist and player. Yeah. Because, as you said, what Stephen A's contracting for ESPN, that's an athlete contract, bro. Yeah. We're never going to have that in England unless someone wants to pay us.
Bro, they said that Gary Lineker, it got revealed Gary Lineker would get paid like $2 million a year. People said, what, taxpayers' money?
Taxpayers' money, give it to the NHS! In which we should.
Stephen A is
on 100 million.
And everyone's applauding it. Everyone's applauding it.
But that's the difference between America and this country, though. Like, we build up athletes, put them on a pedestal to tear them down, even though that's still a bit when it comes to...
we get told to rap.
Even though when it's still when we get told to I lost my train of thought. But yeah, long story short, I think it's definitely skewed when it comes to America and England. I feel like Americans have this notion of journalists are bigger. Journalists are personalities, and maybe in England we might become personalities one day. But just don't ruin that. Don't ruin it for other journalists, Stephen A. Address the situation and move on. Fair enough, you're loving the publicity, but just now you're just making it, and you're never going to win that battle, bro. Yeah. Like, trying to win a battle against LeBron James just doesn't make sense. If this was against Isaiah Stewart, yeah, fair enough, we're picking you, Stephen A. But LeBron James, come on. Like, choose your battles.
It's a good way to end the pod. Choose your battles, people. Let us know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. We're back next week.